Strength in Numbers, AMS Committee on Education Visits Capitol Hill by Elaine Beebe. I'm Dr. Samuel Allen Alexander, mathematician and philosopher, still here, and I'm reading this article published in 2025 in the Notices of the AMS. Last week, 7 mathematicians went to Washington, D.C. to visit their state's delegations on Capitol Hill, an experience not unlike the first day of high school. Armed with tight schedules to follow in a labyrinth of unfamiliar buildings, they set out in small teams, roaming the busy, noisy marble halls of Congress. The goal? To advocate for funding for mathematics education, representing the AMS with the staff of their elected officials. First-time Hill visitors were paired with helpful upperclassmen, mathematicians who had paid Hill visits before. The AMS Office of Government Relations served as guidance counselors, providing orientation in advance and direction during the Hill visit day, as well as handouts for the congressional staffers. In total, 18 congressional officers representing 6 states received AMS visitors, 12 senators, and 6 representatives. I'm very grateful that so many congressional offices made time to speak with representatives from the AMS, said AMS CEO John Meyer. Mathematics is beautiful and of great importance to the nation, and I think we did a very good job of highlighting in particular the impact of federal funding on advancing the mathematical sciences. Before the visits, I was unsure about the impact and importance, said Sarah Maloney, University of Virginia mathematics professor. It was really great to do it, both to be able to explain how the money we receive from the NSF is used, tell stories about mathematics and mathematicians, but also to understand better how decisions are made. Karen Sachs, Senior Vice President, AMS Office of Government Relations, said, "These visits are so important for mathematicians to do, both because they learn how legislation is made and also so that legislators hear from us about exciting projects that students and faculty are doing in their districts and states. Perhaps due to AI and quantum science, we see more and more legislative staff interested in mathematics and its role in these areas." Boy, and that was written in 2025. Imagine how much more that's grown since. Prep. At most, an individual Capitol Hill office visit lasts a half hour. In contrast, prep for the AMS-hosted Hill visits began weeks beforehand with an orientation meeting via Zoom for the participants, most of whom are members of the AMS Committee on Education, COE. Tyler Clefcorn, Associate Vice President, AMS Office of Government Relations, explained that meetings would be taken not by the elected official, but by staffers, whose job it is to take notes, ask follow-up questions, and brief their legislator about the meeting. The visit format is somewhat scripted, with the constituent and non-constituent mathematician in each pair assigned a role. After introductions, the non-constituent mathematician briefly describes the AMS to the congressional staffer and sets up the purpose of the visit, to discuss the importance of mathematical sciences education. Then, the constituent mathematician makes the ask, in this case, strong NSF appropriations for fiscal year 2025, especially in STEM education. An optional ask, Clefcorn noted, would be for support of the Math Stats Modeling Education Act. Finally, the constituent shares evidence of the impact of government-funded math programs in the district or state of the staffer. Attendees must emphasize a connection to district or state, Clefcorn said. Attendees must have clear talking points and asks. We are here to talk about the importance of mathematical sciences education and ways that Congress can support students, educators, and the workforce. In advance, the prospective Hill visitors researched the legislative staffers' backgrounds and their bosses' committee assignments, priorities, and general interests. They read the AMS one-pager on National Science Foundation appropriations and prepared stories about programs funded by the NSF to inform their congressional staffer. The night before the Hill visits, the AMS Office of Governmental Relations hosted a dinner meeting with a PowerPoint review of the steps each group would take the next day, right down to maps of congressional buildings and a review of the Byzantine numbering system of the Capitol offices. Maybe they should get some mathematicians to help renumber the offices. Allow extra time to get through security, the group learned. Also, do not mention campaign support or elections. And for speedy transit, wear sneakers between meetings. The Hill. On a September morning of intermittent rain, the mathematicians walked up to Capitol Hill. They split up into smaller groups to cover their schedules, accompanied by Office of Government Relations staff when available. Maloney and Boris Hasselblad, AMS Secretary and Tufts University professor, had 6 meetings scheduled with the offices of Senators Elizabeth Warren and Edward Markey and Representative Ayanna Pressley of Massachusetts and Senators Tim Kaine and Mark Warner and Rep. Bob Good from Virginia. Christine Burkish, professor at University of Minnesota Twin Cities, made her Hill debut paired with Terrence Blackman, professor and former dean of the School of Science, Health, and Technology at Medgar Evers College, City University of New York. They met with the staffs of New York Senators Charles Schumer, the Senate Majority Leader, and Kirsten Gillibrand, as well as House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, plus Minnesota Senators Tina Smith and Amy Klobuchar and Rep. Betty McCollum. Gosh, everywhere that they talk in this article about senators or representatives, and they shorten that word like rep dot, they mess up the kerning, because in LaTeX, when you have a period in the middle of a sentence, not ending a sentence like that, the following space should be a backslash space. Otherwise, it makes the spacing all messed up. And you can imagine that our senators and representatives are reading this article and they're saying, gosh, these people can't even get the spacing right in their papers. Why should they get taxpayer money? The article continues saying, Professors Ravi Vakil, Stanford University, and Jesus de Loera, University of California, Davis, covered California. Reps Mike Thompson and Anna Eshoo in the morning, Senators Alfonso Butler and Alex Padilla in the afternoon. AMS CEO John Meyer represented Rhode Island and the AMS headquarters in meetings with the staffs of Senators Jack Reed and Sheldon Whitehouse. They are not only supportive of mathematics, they are also delighted that the AMS is based in Providence, Rhode Island, Meyer said. The engagement of the staffers with us was impressive, given the number of such meetings they must be taking, Hasselblad said. Well, that's their job. They're professionals. The article continues saying, although we all had to mind the available time, their focus on the conversation and us was exemplary. I was surprised how many young people are involved in this job, how many interns, Maloney said. Most have a political science background, although I'm a STEM kid, said Sharif Long, legislative correspondent to Rep. Pressley. And Chris Mirabella in Senator Smith's office asked Burkish and Blackman an actual math question. What was Fermat thinking? The mathematicians delivered folders that contained a one-sheet explainer about NSF appropriations, a one-sheet about the AMS math posters, and the 2025 AMS calendar of mathematical imagery. Of course, I brought homework, Blackman said to Senate staffer Alex C., producing a foldable 3D puzzle with the faces of mathematicians. Chuck Schumer always does his homework, C. responded. The halls of Congress bustle with interest groups, often in matching attire. Office of Government Relations training came in handy even for those with Hill experience, such as Hasselblad on his 3rd round of Hill visits. Navigating the various buildings when there was little time between meetings took a little advanced planning, and keeping the conversations with the staffers to the right length takes some concentration and the right improvisation or restraint depending on the direction in which time runs, long or short, he said. There was one legislator sighting in an office. Massachusetts Senator Edward Markey appeared and exchanged pleasantries as Hasselblad and Maloney were leaving their meeting with his staffer, Karina Bravo. I said that we'd shaken hands when he received an honorary doctorate from Tufts, and he said that he loves Tufts, Hasselblad said. With a short lunch break in the Senate's Dirksen cafeteria, where an observant few spotted New Jersey Senator Cory Booker, the Capitol Hill visits made for a long day of walking and talking. I was able to discuss the value of mathematics and STEM education while requesting strong appropriations for the NSF next year, Burkish said. In these meetings, I stressed the importance of programs like the NSF GRFP and shared personal stories of the impact of NSF funding within my own department and university. This was both fun and gratifying work, thanks to the interest the staffers showed in mathematics and the excellent prep I received from AMS staff. Sachs said, I love seeing mathematicians do this for the first time, to see them develop their stories over the day. This year, watching Sarah Maloney and Jesus de Loera make Hill visits for the first time was most gratifying. They were both terrific at delivering our message and making personal connections to the offices they visited. My main takeaway is to be focused and prepared enough. Know your representative, de Loera said. I learned that Rep. Good's office's primary interest in education is around school choice, and I am wondering what we can do to engage in the conversation, Maloney said. She added that she would return to the Hill and hopes that more colleagues will make Hill visits. De Loera concurs. Only by speaking out will be heard, he said. We need allies and coalitions with other organizations. Strength in numbers. This is an interesting insight into how the American Mathematical Society reaches out to Congress, rattling the cup, asking for change, asking for money. I don't know, it kind of leaves not a very good taste in my mouth. Like, they're studying the staffers in advance so they can know properly how to best manipulate them, or try to manipulate them. Obviously, these staffers are seasoned professionals and will see right through this sort of manipulation, of course. I suppose it's just part of the nature of working in the 21st century world that we live in. Anyway, I'm Dr. Samuel Allen Alexander, mathematician and philosopher. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video.